You have redeemed yourself, my son. Welcome home.
A scar can mean many things. It can mark pain, punishment, even a reminder of a past you wish to forget. But some scars run deeper than skin. They become part of who we are, shaping our choices, our fears, and our destiny. For Zuko, this scar is more than just a wound. It's a mark left by betrayal, by rejection, by his own blood. And yet, it is through this scar that Zuko's journey begins. A journey not just of honor, but of survival, acceptance, and identity. To understand Zuko, you have to understand the scar. It's a silent companion in every choice he makes, every battle he fights, every step he takes towards who he truly wants to be. This is the story of a scar and a boy who learned to wear it both as a burden and strength. The story of Zuko's scar begins not with violence, but with compassion. He was only a boy, standing in front of his father's council, believing he was doing what was right. When he spoke up against the general's plan, he thought he was protecting the lives of people. But for his father, Fire Lord Ozai, Zuko's compassion was weakness, and weakness deserved punishment. Zuko's fear and confusion fill the air as he kneels before his father, pleading for mercy. But Ozai doesn't see his son. He sees a challenge, a disgrace, something to be corrected. In that moment, the punishment becomes inevitable, and Zuko's fate is sealed. The scar is born out of betrayal, a wound given by the person who should have been Zuko's greatest protector. From that moment on, his scar becomes a painful reminder of rejection and unworthiness. And Margaret tells him he's filled as a son and a prince. But to Zuko, this scar isn't just punishment. It's a challenge to redeem himself, to regain his honor, to prove that he's worthy in his father's eyes. And so, Zuko believes that if he captures the Avatar, this scar will finally lose its sting. What he doesn't know is that the journey will demand more than he ever expected. By the beginning of Season 2, Zuko's scar has come to represent both pain and isolation. It's a burden he hides behind his anger, hoping that someday he'll be able to redeem himself. But he isn't the only one who sees the scar's meaning. When his sister Azula appears, she wastes no time in turning it into a weapon of her own. To Azula, the scar is a mark of disgrace. It's a reminder of his failure to live up to their father's ruthless expectations. She uses it to dig into Zuko's deepest insecurities, reinforcing the humiliation he already feels. To her eyes, the scar isn't a symbol of honor, but a permanent mark of inferiority. In this moment, the scar becomes more than just a private pain. It's a public brand of failure. Zuko begins to see the scar not just as a reminder of what he's lost, but as proof that he might never be able to reclaim his honor. It solidifies the belief that he needs to fulfill his father's wishes if he ever hopes to be worthy. In the beginning of Book 2, Zuko's scar becomes the anchor for his anger and his desperation. It's a physical wound, but it's also an emotional tether, binding him to a family who only sees him through the lens of failure. By the time Zuko reaches the Earth Kingdom, Zuko is not just physically isolated, he's emotionally adrift, separated from his family and his homeland. The scar that marks him as a Fire Nation prince is now also the mark of an outcast, someone who belongs nowhere. For a brief moment, Zuko lets himself hope that he could be seen as more than the mark on his face, that he could connect with others despite the brand he carries. In this village, he feels a sliver of acceptance, a chance to be judged by his actions rather than his past. Here, Zuko's scar becomes a barrier, one that prevents others from seeing who he truly is. No matter what he does, the scar brands him as a symbol of the Fire Nation's aggression. To the villagers, He's not Zuko, the boy exiled and abandoned by his family. He's simply an enemy. In this episode, the Scar is a reminder that he's caught between worlds, never fully accepted by the Fire Nation, and forever marked as an outsider everywhere else. It's more than just a wound. It's a constant reminder of his isolation, pushing him to confront whether his identity can ever be separated from the family and nation that left a mark on him. As Zuko's journey unfolds, he finds himself struggling between two identities: the scarred prince of the Fire Nation, bound by duty and family, and the Blue Spirit, a masked vigilante who operates in the shadows. In the episode of Lake Lagai, Zuko faces his reflection in the still water, and the scar stands out, a reminder of the life he's tried to leave behind. In this moment, the scar becomes a physical reminder of everything he's lost, of the parts of himself he wished he could erase. With the Blue Spirit mask, Zuko found a way to escape the burden of his identity, if only temporarily. Behind the mask, he's free from the expectations, the failures, and the pain tied to the scar. For Zuko, the Blue Spirit is an alternate self, a way of detaching from the trauma of his past. But the mask can only offer him temporary relief. Eventually, he has to face a scar, a constant reminder of the prince he was and the expectations he can't seem to escape. In the episode Lake Lagai, Zuko confronts reality that he can't run from his scar or the family that left it on him. The Blue Spirit offers him an escape, but it's not a true answer. Deep down, Zuko knows he must find a way to reconcile the two parts of himself: the boy marked by fire and the young man seeking his own path. Only then he can begin to heal. In The Crossroads of Destiny, Zuko reached a pivotal moment. His path has been one of pain, anger, and isolation, and the scar on his face has been a constant reminder of that suffering. But here, with Katara, he's offered something he's never expected: the chance to heal, to release the burden he's carried for so long. To Zuko, this offer of healing isn't just about the scar. It's about the possibility of letting go of his father's rejection, finding peace within himself. Katara's gesture represents compassion, acceptance, and the chance to step away from a path defined by pain. But as Azula appears, Zuko turns from Katara's kindness and chooses to side with his sister. He releases Katara's hand, symbolically rejecting the chance to heal. In this moment, Zuko's scar becomes a choice. It could represent release, redemption, and the freedom to embrace a new identity. But by choosing Azula, Zuko decides to hold on to the scar as a symbol of loyalty to his father, of the honor he believed he must reclaim. He's not ready to abandon the pain and the expectation tied to that mark. The scar, once a physical wound, now symbolizes the path Zuko has chosen, a path that will take him deeper into conflicts before he is ready to confront his true self. It's a powerful moment, showing that while he longs for healing, he's still bound by his past and the family ties that have shaped him. When Zuko returns to the Fire Nation in the episode The Awakening, he should feel triumphant. After all, he's regained his place as prince, and his father, Fire Lord Ozai, has finally acknowledged him. But the scar on his face tells a different story. It's a mark that now reflects not just his past, but the emptiness that comes from pursuing a victory that feels meaningless. After all the struggle, all the sacrifice, Zuko is finally home. And yet, there's no peace in his heart. The scar, once a symbol of the honor he longed to reclaim, now becomes a reminder of what he's lost in the pursuit of his father's approval. Every glance at his own reflection is a reminder that he has followed his father's path, and not his own. The scar, which he once hoped to redeem by capturing the Avatar, now feels like a hollow badge of achievement. It's a reminder that his father's approval doesn't heal the deeper wounds within. The loneliness, the need for purpose, and the desire to be valued for who he truly is, not just as a son who finally obeyed. In the episode The Awakening, Zuko realizes that honor is not something that can be granted by another. The scar, once his guide back to his father, now points to a deeper truth. That true honor can only come from within. But he isn't ready to face this truth yet, leaving him more conflicted than ever. When Zuko arrives at the Western Air Temple, he knows that he's stepping into the unknown. For years, his scar has marked him as an enemy, a constant reminder of the pain he has affected and the loyalties he has betrayed. Now, standing before Aang and the others, his scar symbolizes the responsibility he must take for his actions and the redemption he seeks. In this moment, Zuko's scar is no longer something he hides behind or distances himself from. It becomes a physical testament to the choices he's made and the consequences he now faces. By exposing himself to Team Avatar, he's bearing the burden of his scar, accepting that it will take more than words to earn their trust. For Zuko, this card is a reminder that redemption cannot be granted easily. It has to be earned through action, sacrifice, and humility. In asking to join Team Avatar, he's embracing his scar not as a mark of failure, but as a symbol of his commitment to atone. He's willing to carry its weight openly, allowing it to remind him of the journey he must undertake to truly become someone worthy of respect. In the episode The Western Air Temple, Zuko's scar begins to transform in meaning. No longer a mark of disgrace, it now represents his resilience and his willingness to confront his past in order to build a new future. By acknowledging his scar, he's taking responsibility, not just for the choice of his past, but for the man he hopes to become. By the time we reach the show's finale, Zuko has come full circle. His scar, once a symbol of shame, rejection, and conflict, now represents something far greater. Sitting face to face with Azula, Zuko's scar reflects the man he has chosen to become. A man who no longer seeks honor through conquest, but through compassion and self-sacrifice. In this battle, Zuko's scar becomes a mark of honor. Not because he fights to defeat his sister, but because he fights to protect the people he cares about. He understands that true strength isn't about overpowering others, but about knowing when to stand firm and when to show mercy. Here, Zuko's scar becomes a testament to his journey from anger to acceptance, from pain to purpose. He chooses to bear the risk, to take on the pain, because his sense of honor is no longer about proving himself to his father or the Fire Nation. It's about protecting those who he cares for. In shielding Katara, Zuko finally redefines the scar as a symbol of courage, compassion, and selflessness. In this final act, Zuko's scar reaches its ultimate meaning. It no longer binds him to his father's expectations or his own insecurities. Instead, it reflects his journey of transformation, a journey where he has claimed his own path, defined by compassion, resilience, and a commitment to protect rather than to destroy. Zuko's scar began as a mark of rejection, punishment, and shame, a wound inflicted by those who would have been his protectors. For years, he saw it as a constant reminder of his father's disappointment, of the honor he believed he'd lost, and the anger that consumed him. But over time, the scar transformed, just as Zuko did. It became a mark of his resilience, a reflection of the inner strength he discovered along the journey. As he grew, Zuko learned that true honor isn't something others can bestow or take away. It's something that comes from within, shaped by compassion, courage, and the willingness to face one's own flaws. Today, Zuko's scar is more than a remnant of pain. It's a testament to his transformation, a symbol of the journey he has undertaken and the man he has become. It reminds him and us that our greatest wounds can become our greatest strengths if we have the courage to accept them, to learn from them, and to grow beyond them.